What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. So as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about a prison routine. Every day is structured and outlined. I think there's a reasoning behind that, and for me, this was part of prison that benefited to my life in the outside world. I am still routined and organized, and I have a lot of habits that I learned in prison that I still have to this day. Like every single morning I wake up and I make my bed. Just little things like that, but I think they're important because if you're an addict like me, every day is crazy and there is no routine, there's no structure. I found peace in a routine, so that was a good aspect of prison. But a lot of you guys are asking me, what does a prison routine look like? How much time do you have? And I have a ton of questions from you guys on Instagram that I'm gonna read also. Without further ado, I'm gonna stop rambling. Let's get into today's video. So it's funny, after all this time, and I've been out for a little over 6 years, how much I still remember the prison routine, how much I remember at every single time what you're going to do. And this does look different if you're in an open dorm or if you're in a closed tier cell. For those of you that don't know, an open dorm looks like a gym with like 50 bunk beds. So that is an open dorm, and a closed tier is cells, 2-man cells, and it's called a closed tier because there is tiers of cells. So you have one roommate in that instance, depending on the facility. There are prisons like the one in Atlanta, federal prison out of Atlanta, they have 3-man cells, and it's literally the same space as a 2-man cell, but they crammed in another person. So very small. Now, a lot of the things that I am going to say for prison routine are the same as open dorm and closed tier, because if it's in one prison, everything runs on the same time. So it just looks a little different, if that makes sense, if you're in an open dorm versus a closed tier. I personally preferred a closed room as long as I liked my roommate, which it's so hard to get a good cellie. So 4:30 in the morning, you will hear a really heavy door open and they will say, "Chow call!" Slam the door. And because these dorms are so open, it echoes really loud. You eventually learn to block that out, and there have been plenty of days I did not even hear that breakfast chow call. Sometimes the officers are really crappy and they open the door and they go, "Chow call," and close the door. They're not doing that so that you sleep, they're doing that so you miss breakfast. But more often than not, the barracks door opens and the officer yells "chow" really loud, and then they slam the door. It's something that new people hear every single time it happens. The more you've been there, you kind of just tune it out. So I miss breakfast all the time. I never even heard them. Everything is structured. So you go to breakfast, you have to line up at your door inside the barracks. The officer will let you out that door, you walk through the halls. You have to stop through metal detectors. Sometimes the officers will get on to you for talking. Sometimes they're just kind of in a bad mood and they just want to go home. This is end of shift for them, and it's the beginning of the day for us. So you go through metal detectors. Sometimes they pull you out and pat you down. Men pat women down. So that was a really uncomfortable thing for me. It was also really uncomfortable for women that have been victims of sexual assault to have a stranger, a man, rubbing down their body to see if they have any contraband. That was a very difficult time in prison, to have men patting me down or watching me shower or saying crude things to me. It happens. Everyone is back from breakfast chow around 6 or 6:30, and at that point there will be count. Now, if you don't go to breakfast, you have to be up and dressed when count is called. You know that it's time for count because all of the cell lights will come on, or if you're in an open dorm, the really bright fluorescent lights will come on in the unit. So they're very, very bright, and the officers will sometimes, yell, "Count." And it doesn't matter if you're in an open dorm or a closed tier cell, you have to be up and you have to be dressed when they go around for count. A lot of the times they want you on your bed for count. That means you can't be moving around the cell. That way they can get an accurate count. Now let me just tell y'all, this is something, no offense if you're a correctional officer, this is something correctional officers do not get right, and it takes forever. So they'll have to recount sometimes 2, 3, 4 times. So that's super frustrating. If they have someone out on a work assignment or someone's gone to court and they don't properly document that or let the next shift know, it is something that they have to recount. So yeah. That's always a fun thing, to be stuck and you can't move. There is no movement during count. The entire facility is basically on lockdown status, which means no movement, zero, none. You have to be where you're supposed to be. You have to be in your assigned place, and you cannot move until count is cleared. So at this point, at 6:30 in the morning, that is on your bed, unless you are a kitchen worker, and we will get to that. So once they have finished count, it's around 7:30, they will get work detailed called. So that means if you are assigned to laundry, if you're a porter, if you work in medical, if you work in the library, if you work in the chaplain's office, if you work in the beauty shop, your job is called and you have to go to that assigned job, and you're at work all day. Some facilities have work release where you leave the prison and you work outside of the prison. I was in laundry a lot. It seems to me that once you get a job assignment, they just keep re-gifting you that, you know? So you have to just keep getting the same job assignment. I have worked in the kitchen, but I worked in laundry the most. And basically there are these huge industrial size washer and dryers. Everyone's dirty clothes goes in the same washer, same water, same fluids washing around, none of it's clean. A lot of the women will hand wash their bras and underwear so that they are not put in the laundry with everyone else's laundry, and I think that's just a smart move. So you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do. And I in no way think that prison should be a great 5-star hotel, but at the same time, I think people should be treated as humans. So I don't want people to see this or hear this and think that I am downplaying prison. Prison should be hard. I understand that. I am just trying to explain what prison life is like from the perspective of someone that has been to prison. So, okay, 8 a.m. is going to be classes. So not everyone has a work assignment, as in laundry. A porter, that's, I didn't explain that, did I? A porter is someone that cleans the specific area that they're assigned to, or kitchen or library, beauty shop. Some of the people that are in prison are in a program barracks, so they have classes all day, or you can go to GED class. As long as you don't have your GED, you can go to GED class and they check, trust me. If you're on chain gang, like I was in Arkansas prison, wow, you go to field squad, aka chain gang without the gang. I do have a video on chain gang. I will leave it on the card up here. Not a great experience, but if you have field squad, you will be at your job assignment all day too. So you'll be at your job assignment from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. While you are at your job assignment or your classes or whatever you have to do during the day, you do break for chow. Lunch chow is served at 11:30, depending on what housing unit you're in, what job assignment you have, what class you're in. Everyone takes a turn going to the chow hall. And when you have a large facility, this takes a few hours to get done. In between every meal, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner chow, you're fed 3 times a day. You do get, people with diabetes do get to go to medical. That's something that I had probably said incorrect in one of my videos on prison medical care. If you have diabetes, you do get seen 3 times a day or with every meal, I think. Pretty sure. So after your lunch chow, you'll go back to your classes or you'll go back to your job assignment. For people that do not have a job assignment, they will go back to their barracks, or say you have the day off that day, or you skip. Some people just straight up skip going to classes or skip going to their job. That is called out of place of assignment, and you will get thrown in segregation for that. So go to your job. Or if you're a porter in the barracks, you basically stay in the barracks all the time. You can go to the library when they call for library. You can go to the beauty shop when you have to. You can go to medical if you have to, by filling out a form saying that you need to go to wherever it is. Except library, that's a separate thing. Like, they have specific times to go to the library. But if your job is in the barracks, you stay in the barracks all the time. So to me, in my personal opinion, working in the barracks is the worst thing ever, because you want to be able to get out and not just be stuck in one room forever. So at 4:30, it is dinner chow. Same procedure. You line up and you go by housing unit or wherever you are on the compound, and you go to dinner chow. After dinner chow, you go back to the barracks, and between the hours of 6 to 10:30, that's the chill time. So unless you're in the kitchen. In the kitchen, I should probably talk about that in a second. The kitchen has a whole different schedule if you work in the kitchen. So from 6 to 10:30, that is your chill time. That is where you can write a letter home, make food with your friends is a loose term here, but you make dinner with your friends. You can watch TV. A lot of prisons require you to buy a radio to hear the TV, so that's fun. But that's so you don't disturb everyone with the TV. And there are rules around the TV. It's a whole different lifestyle, you guys. You can't just walk into a barracks and decide, I'm gonna watch Ellen today because I like Ellen and we're watching Ellen. there are rules and you will get punched in the face if you just decide to change the channel. You can't do that. There's a hierarchy and there is a schedule with things that you watch. So yeah, you can't just change a channel. It's disrespectful and you'll get in a fight for that. But that is the time where you can watch TV. Sometimes the prison allows us to watch movies, like movie night on the weekends or what have you. Sometime between the hours of 6 and 10:30, you will be given your mail, and every facility is different. I'm sure sometimes maybe they hand out mail in the morning, I don't know. But at the last facility I was at, we had mail call at night. Sometimes everyone is required to go to mail call. Some officers get really crappy if you don't show up to mail, and that's like, I've always wondered, are you doing that to mess with my mind? Because a lot of us know we're not getting mail, but some officers require every single person to show up and be present for mail call. Sometime between the hours of 6 and 10:30, there might be pill call. There will be diabetic chow, where you will get an extra sandwich or something to eat, maybe an orange and a milk. So that is worked in also. Even though the prison is very structured, things can change at any moment. Fights can pop off at any moment. A search or a raid can happen at any moment. You can all be pulled out to be drug tested at any moment. There have been days where I think I know what's gonna happen that day and it takes a major turn and things get really crazy. I have seen a woman pick up another woman and body slam her like she's in the WWE. I have seen women get punched and thrown on the ground and pepper sprayed and abused, thrown up against the wall. I've seen women have their face busted open by correctional officers because they were fighting and the fight wouldn't break up, and one of the officers picked up this woman and slammed her on the wall and smashed her face. I read an article a couple years ago about that happening and the woman lost her teeth. So it happens. I know there's a stereotype that women's prisons are not as violent. I would say that is probably true. Women can be less violent than men. There is a stereotype that women prisons are just easy and they are a pillow fight. I don't know. I see all kinds of comments made, or you guys are asking me questions about prison. Just because I'm a female doesn't mean that the prison is soft. It's still difficult. I've been in physical fights many times in jail. I have had my ass kicked by correctional officers. I've seen other women abused by correctional staff. I was serving time in a prison where the chaplain was found guilty of raping 5 women that I knew, 5 women that I spent a lot of time with. Sexual assault is real and it happens. So I will probably make a video in more detail when it comes to rape inside of prison when I am ready to. I would also like to have someone on the channel that has had experience with that themselves or has survived that. So if you have been the victim of an assault in prison and you feel comfortable and safe to come forward and share your story, please reach out to me. My email is linked down below. So I would like to go to your questions now. You guys ask me the best questions. So I asked you guys on Instagram, can you sleep during the day? You can sleep during the day in 2 scenarios. 1, you're in segregation, or 2, you don't have a job assignment, or you're elderly and you can't work, or you're a barracks porter. So you can basically sleep if you don't have to clean the barracks. And usually you only have to clean the barracks for like an hour when they hand you the cleaning supplies to do so, and then you can go right back to bed. Do holidays have a different schedule or is it the same? Every day is ran the same. Every day is ran the same. The only thing that changes on the holiday is your family might be able to send you a holiday box. What was it called? Boxes? Like gift bags that they can order from companies that have special kinds of food. If your family has money to do so, they're expensive. Also, the food is different on 2 holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving. That's it. How do you cope with the same routine day after day? I actually found comfort and peace in the routine. How many fights happen every day? I would say there's like an argument or a disagreement every single day. Physical fights a few times a week. Do guards eat the same food? Now, if you're a correctional officer, please comment down below if you ate the same food as the inmates. I have known of correctional officers eating the same food in New York. I never saw that in the South. And a lot of the correctional officers would sit there and laugh at us when we did eat chow hall food because there would be rats in the kitchen, or there's no flavor, or it's just really not good food. So yeah, we were mocked sometimes for eating the food. What do you do if you're sick? Are you allowed to stay in bed all day? Love your channel. Love you too. No. You are not allowed to stay in bed all day. You are not allowed to stay in bed if you are sick. And you just have to work through it. If you have the flu, you have to work through it. And if you do have the flu, you can buy Tylenol on commissary and you can drink water. That is it. That's it. You can fill out a form to go to medical, but a lot of prisons charge you for that, and they're just gonna tell you to drink some water and take some ibuprofen. Do the male COs look at y'all inappropriately often? Yes, every single day. How often are you allowed to shower? Could you shower 3 times a day if you wanted to? That's a good question. No. You can shower every day, either really early in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. They might come in and open the showers, or you can shower at night. Funny, I still shower at night. So yeah, you can shower at night. There are 2 different kinds of showers in prisons. One is an open shower where there's a bunch of faucet heads and everyone's showering together, or there is closed individual closed individual showers with a little shower curtain. So yeah, if you're in a closed tier, it's probably going to be an open shower. If you're in an open dorm, it's probably gonna be a closed shower. What's the process for after a visit? So I didn't get any, but if you go to visit someone, if your family comes to visit you, after the visit, you will be strip searched. You'll be made to squat and cough to make sure there is no contraband entering the facility, and then you can go back to your dorm. What is the most sanitary part of a prison cell? None of it. They're just dirty. Do people do hair and makeup? What is common contraband and what is in commissary? So my friend Jason is actually mailing me a commissary sheet, but I need a female to send me one because you can buy different things on commissary if you're a female. You can buy makeup. Certain facilities will not allow you to braid hair. They will not allow you to wear your hair around in braids or have any kind of individual style. But yes, you can do makeup. What did you do when you had time outside? Okay, so I didn't really explain recreation. So every day you're supposed to be given a rec call. I love you, go to rec. So a lot of the times in Arkansas that was done in a gym, and a lot of the times I didn't go. In New York, you get to go outside. So you are given 1 hour of rec every day. It's either in a gym or it's outside. And you do like little workouts, or you can play volleyball or basketball, depending on what's going on. A lot of people just walk around and listen to their music and try to get as much exercise as they can. Is it easy to make so-called friends? You know, at first people don't like me, or people will look at me and say that I didn't belong there, and that's not a good thing. You don't want that label. You don't want people to look at you and say that you don't belong there. Not a good thing. But once someone had one conversation with me, it was very easy for me to make friends. Sometimes too many. Sometimes people liked me that I really wish would not like me, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it wasn't difficult for me to make friends, but it was difficult when I had people that wouldn't leave me alone, or people that really didn't like me. And that happens, you know? Not everyone's gonna like you. People are gonna have a problem with almost everything, you know? Yeah, it's really difficult to live in a room with 50 women. That's 50 different personalities, 50 different backgrounds, all trying to get along and share 4 toilets and 4 sinks, and it's hard. How do they wake you up? With extremely bright lights and a yell for chow. Hopefully I answered the majority of your guys' questions. I am very grateful for the time that I spent in prison because it taught me so much about myself. I really used that time as a lot of self-reflection. And anytime I had downtime to read or to meditate or write in my journal, I did so. And if I didn't have that time of clarity and sobriety and self-reflection, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So it might sound crazy, but I'm actually very grateful that I went to prison, not only because it saved my life, but it also saved my daughter's life. I'm gonna end today's video here. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, do not break the law, and I will see you guys in my next one.